Have you ever found yourself behind the wheel halfway to the grocery store, only to realize you can't remember the first half of the drive? Or maybe you've squinted a little harder at those road signs lately, feeling like they've somehow gotten smaller overnight. If you've nodded your head to any of that, stick around, because this conversation is just for you. Let's be honest, driving isn't just about getting from point A to point B. For so many of us, it represents freedom. The ability to hop in the car, visit friends, grab a cup of coffee at your favorite spot, or take a Sunday drive down that old road you've loved for years. It's a part of our independence, and giving it up, or even thinking about it, isn't easy. But here's the thing. While driving may feel the same, our bodies and minds aren't always on the same page as they were at 40 or 50. That's why today, we're talking about something important, something that isn't always easy to face, but truly matters for your safety and the safety of those around you. We're going to gently, honestly, and openly talk about those subtle, sneaky signs that might be telling you it's time to rethink driving. Not because you're any less of who you are, but because there are better, safer, and frankly more convenient ways to stay connected with the world without taking unnecessary risks. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 of the most important warning signs that it might be time to hand over the keys, even if just for certain situations. And don't worry, I'll also share some fantastic alternatives that can help you stay just as independent and mobile as ever. Trust me, life doesn't stop moving when you stop driving. Sometimes it actually gets a little less stressful. So let's ease into this with the first thing I want you to pay attention to. How's your vision these days? I mean, truly, not just whether you can read a book or watch TV, but how clearly you see things on the road, especially at night. Are those streetlights starting to look like little blurry starbursts? Are headlights from oncoming cars making you wince and squint? You might even find yourself avoiding night drives altogether because everything feels a little too intense, a little too unpredictable. And if you've caught yourself doing that, you're not alone. As we age, our eyes naturally undergo changes. It's completely normal. Pupil size shrinks, and the eye's lens can become less flexible, making it harder to focus quickly. When lighting changes, glare from headlights becomes tougher to handle, and distinguishing colors like those all-important traffic lights gets a bit trickier. If your night vision isn't what it used to be, it's a good idea to have your eyes checked regularly. And if driving after sunset feels like navigating through a foggy dream, it might be your body gently nudging you to consider whether those evening errands can wait for daylight hours or be done a different way. Now let's talk about memory. Ever found yourself on a familiar route only to suddenly feel like you're not quite sure where you are or what turn comes next? Maybe you've missed an exit you've taken 100 times before. Look, we all have forgetful moments. You can walk into a room and completely blank on why you're there. But if these lapses happen when you're driving, it's a different story. Being behind the wheel requires quick thinking, constant attention, and a clear sense of direction. If memory hiccups are popping up more often, it's not something to shrug off. Maybe you've noticed it's taking longer to process road signs, or you feel overwhelmed when there's too much going on. Pedestrians, traffic lights, merging cars. That sense of mental overload is another little sign it might be time to have a conversation with yourself about whether driving still feels safe and natural for you. And you know what? Recognizing that is not a weakness. It's strength. It's wisdom. It's knowing when to adapt so you can keep living a great life on your terms. All right, now that we've touched on how our eyes and memory can subtly influence our driving, let's keep this going. Because the truth is, those aren't the only signals our bodies send us when it's time to rethink life behind the wheel. And speaking of signals, let's talk about reflexes. Now, I don't know about you, but these days, my knees seem to have a mind of their own when I get out of a chair, let alone slam on the brakes when a squirrel darts across the road. Quick reactions are a big part of safe driving, and the truth is, as we age, our reflexes naturally slow down. It's not about failing or losing ability. It's just part of being human. You might notice that it takes an extra second or two to move your foot from the gas to the brake, or that when something unexpected happens, a ball bouncing into the street, a car stopping short in front of you, your reaction time isn't quite what it used to be. And on the road, Those seconds matter. Even if it's never led to a close call, it can still be a wake-up call when you realize you're reacting a beat slower than you used to. Pay attention the next time you're driving. Are you catching yourself being surprised by things more often? Are your hands a little slower to turn the wheel when you need to swerve or adjust? These aren't things we like to admit, but noticing them isn't about giving up. It's about staying one step ahead so you can make smart, safe decisions that work for your life. And while we're at it, let's touch on physical discomfort. You know, those little aches and pains that creep in where they didn't used to. Driving demands a surprising amount from your body. You're turning your head to check blind spots, gripping the wheel, pressing pedals, sitting upright for long stretches. If you're experiencing arthritis, joint stiffness, or neck and back pain, all of that can start to make driving uncomfortable, even dangerous. Maybe you've noticed it's getting harder to turn your head all the way when you back up, or your shoulders protest after a long drive. That kind of discomfort can make it tough to stay focused, and you might find yourself avoiding certain situations like busy intersections or highways because you just don't feel as agile as before. There's no shame in that. In fact, it's smart to listen to your body when it whispers before it shouts. Now, let's have an honest chat about something else. Confidence. Has your confidence behind the wheel taken a hit lately? Do you feel a little more anxious when driving through traffic, or hesitate before merging onto a busy road? Maybe you've started avoiding certain routes, driving only during the day, or skipping trips altogether because it feels overwhelming. That little knot in your stomach? That's your gut looking out for you. Anxiety behind the wheel is more common than people think, especially as we get older and start to second-guess ourselves. And while a bit of caution is always healthy, if it's getting to the point where you feel nervous, panicky, or distracted while driving, that's worth paying attention to. A tense, anxious driver isn't a safe one, not for themselves, and not for others on the road. And you know what's beautiful about today's world? You don't have to grin and bear it. There are more ways to get around than ever before. Ride-sharing services, community shuttles, volunteer driving programs, and senior transport services are making it easier than ever to stay mobile without getting behind the wheel. I'll be sharing more about those in just a bit, because staying connected and independent should never come at the cost of your safety or peace of mind. But before we get there, let's keep going, because there's still one more important sign I want you to hear about. Now, the last sign I want to talk about is something many folks shrug off because it feels small, but it's one of the clearest signals your driving days might need a rethink, and that's getting lost in familiar places. You know what I mean. You're driving to the same grocery store you've been going to for 30 years, and suddenly you realize you took the wrong turn. Or you pull into a parking lot, and for a second, you're not quite sure how you got there. It happens to the best of us. Heck, I've wandered around my own kitchen looking for my glasses, only to realize they were on my head. But on the road, these little lapses can become dangerous. Getting disoriented in a familiar area is a sign that your brain isn't processing the route the way it used to, and that's not something to take lightly. Even if it's rare, if it's happening at all, it's time to start thinking about safer options. And let's be honest, none of this is easy to talk about. Giving up the car keys can feel like handing over a piece of your freedom, your independence, your control. I get it. But here's the thing, no one tells you. Giving up driving doesn't mean giving up living. It just means finding new ways to stay connected, engaged, and moving through the world. These days, there are more alternatives than ever. Rideshare services like Uber and Lyft are just a tap away on your phone, and most communities have senior ride programs that offer affordable or even free transportation for errands, medical appointments, and social events. Some retirement communities and local organizations run shuttle services, and many grocery stores offer home delivery. The resources are out there. It's just a matter of reaching for them. And the best part, you don't have to figure it all out overnight. Start by using a ride service for 1 or 2 trips a week. See how it feels. Ask family members or friends for rides when you can. You'd be surprised how many folks are happy to help if you just ask. And remember, this isn't about losing independence. It's about choosing safety, comfort, and peace of mind for you and the people who love you. Life after driving isn't a closed door. It's just a new path, and one that can lead to all kinds of unexpected joys. You might discover a neighbor you never knew before because you started carpooling, or find a weekly driver who turns out to be great company on the way to the market, or simply enjoy the freedom of not having to deal with traffic, parking, or road stress. It's about trading one kind of freedom for another. So, if you've seen a few of these warning signs in yourself or a loved one, take a deep breath. This is a chance to make a thoughtful, empowering choice. And remember, life is about adapting. Every stage brings new adventures, and just because you hang up the keys doesn't mean you stop steering your own life. If this video resonated with you, I'd love for you to drop a comment below. Share your story, your worries, or what alternatives you've tried. Let's keep this conversation going, because no one should have to navigate these changes alone. And hey, if you found this helpful, go ahead and tap that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video filled with tips, wisdom, and encouragement for living your best, happiest, and healthiest life at any age.